Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates. I don't know what just went wrong, but we lost our intro video again. I vowed that that would never happen again, and it did. I don't know what happened, but we're back here with you tonight on Emergency Management Associates. Guys, I don't have anything. Well, I have a bunch of things I need to tell you we need to work on. But guys, there's a lot going on. There are a ton of things going on. I'm going to back up. I'm going to start with what happened late last night. Okay. Late last night, there was a major event that happened. I'm just going to put it that way. There was a major event that happened, and we can't deny what happened. No one can. Nobody even saw it happening. Nobody thought it would happen, but it did. Major event happened last night. Guys, this is a big deal, a huge deal. Now, I want to show you something here. Give me a second here. No one thought that Israel would attack Iran. Iran got attacked. Iran attacked Israel. Israel attacked back again. This time, it's a bigger deal. It's a huge deal. Okay? I'm not going to deny it. It's a huge, huge deal. Now, it also hit an oil refinery. Last night, Israel and the United States had a major attack on Iran. Let me show you this. An oil refinery in Iran was attacked, among other things. We're going to talk about all these things tonight. Look at that. Major oil refinery was destroyed in Iran. Now, guys, do we think it's going to happen again? Yes, I do think it's going to happen again. I'm going to tell you this. Nobody thought it was going to happen, but it did. Give me a second. I'm going to finally stop that once and for all. Guys, up until recently, we never had a problem with our videos or anything else. Then all of a sudden, we're having issues with them. I turned it off. If I have an issue with it again, I'm going to completely take it down. It shouldn't have happened. Anyway, getting back to what we're talking about. Last night, the United States and Israel attacked Iran. Major, major conflict. Huge conflict. Okay? The United States and Israel had a major conflict over in Iran last night. Huge deal. Never has happened before. It may happen again tonight. I'm just telling you, it may happen again tonight. I wasn't able to come on the air earlier today because I had another huge thunderstorm here that came through here. I'm now on the air to talk about it because this thunderstorm has already blown through, and I don't think we're going to have any more problem with it tonight. But shortly before midnight last night, President Trump jumped on Truth Social. He delivered a string of now viral statements, whole string of viral statements. President Trump first said, quote, "We know exactly where the so-called supreme leader in Iran is hiding. He is an easy target, but we will still not kill him, not yet." Then he wrote this, quote, "Unconditional surrender must happen now or we will destroy you." Then he finally said, "Our patience is wearing thin." Early this morning, an Iranian missile struck a large hospital in the southern Israeli city of Beersheba, causing serious damage and drawing accusations from Israel that Iran was committing war crimes. 3 sentences this time. 3 sentences in one warning. Zero ambiguity of this was posturing. Zero ambiguity of this was not posturing. This was preparation. By the time these posts hit the newsfeed around the world, United States bombers, B-52s, B-2 bombers were already in the air. They were loaded and they were fueled. They were just waiting for the go code. But what did Vice President Vance say after that? What Vice President Vance said after that stunned even Washington leaders. What intelligence did Trump receive that pushed him past the point of no return? As the bombers were rolling towards their targets, Vice President J.D. Vance issued a statement of his own that shocked even the people in the D.C. Beltway. Here's what he said, quote, President Trump has always been clear. Iran will never be allowed to obtain a nuclear weapon. We offered peace. Iran chose escalation. This is not a war of choice. It is a response to years of cowardice and failure. Iran could have had nuclear war. Iran could have had civilian nuclear war. They rejected it and they lied. They threatened American lives, and now we act. This is not about regime change. This is not about regime change. It wasn't about occupation either. It was about neutralizing a threat that could have been ignored by the previous administrations and weaponized by Iran. J.D. Vance's tone was very cold. It was calculated, and it matched Trump's tone as well. No more games, no false, fake negotiations. It was clear that the United States wasn't just responding to missiles. It was responding to decades of betrayal. What happened after midnight last night is what really made history. I'm telling you guys, it made history. Okay? I thought it was important to talk about. We're talking about it now. Okay? The United States with Israel attacked Iran last night. At 12:02 a.m. Tehran time, the sky over Tehran lit up. The sky broke multiple B-2 Spirit stealth bombers, previously stationed on a small island in the Indian Ocean in Diego Garcia. U.S. B-2 bombers began their final approach into Iranian airspace, into Iran's Al-Udeid air base. That air base was destroyed. Each bomber was carrying a GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrator. It's a Moab bomb. It's a 30,000 bomb bunker buster, designed only for one mission, to crack the uncrackable. At that same time, there were many KC-135 aerial refueling tankers in the air. More than 30 KC-135 Strator tankers had been pre-positioned in the region days earlier. We showed you that last night. Given the tankers' unlimited range and our B-52s, B-1B, B-2, and B-22 bombers were able to be refueled from these Strator tankers. They made their trip across the pond on Sunday night. The tankers refueled our jets as well. Down below in the Arabian Gulf, the U.S. Nimitz battle group began maneuvering into final strike position. Missile defense systems lit up air traffic in the region froze. Air traffic in the region froze. This was not a drill. This was real. It had a name. The name of this ordnance strike was Midnight Strike. We previously reported yesterday evening that the Israeli military attacked the headquarters of Iraq's television station. A news anchor was speaking live on the air. When they were speaking, an explosion shook the building, followed by the sound of breaking glass and screams. Last Friday, Tehran time, Israel carried out the strike on a military airport in the northwest Iranian city of Tabriz. Now let's talk about Fordo, Fordow. Fordo is Iran's nuclear facility buried deep within a mountain. Let's talk about this. Let's show you what it is. I want you to understand what we're talking about. This is Fordo, buried underneath this mountaintop. Okay? Fordo is Iran's crown jewel of nuclear secrecy, buried more than 260 feet below solid rock. That is like 26-story building underneath the deep mountain rock. 26-story building. It has long been out of reach for even Israel's best nuclear piercing weapons, bunker piercing weapons, but not the United States munitions. The United States is the only country that has these bunker busters. According to military analysts, Fordo has been actively enriching uranium to near weapons grade level in direct defiance of international law and nuclear agreements. The International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, inspectors were blocked. Transparency vanished. That is why Israel requested U.S. President Trump's help. U.S. bombers carried the only weapon on Earth capable of obliterating Fordo in one strike. This is exactly what happened early this morning. Multiple Moabs were dropped in sequence, punching deeper and deeper within each impact until finally the heart of the Fordo complex detonated in a huge shockwave, fire, and seismic collapse. Now, CBS News is denying this. CBS News is denying that Fordo was even attacked or that the United States did anything. Now, here's what no one else is talking about. No one saw this coming. Iran didn't even fire back. Someone might ask why. What role did Israel fighter jets play in clearing the way? How did Trump establish what he called a complete control of Iranian airspace in under an hour? What made the strike not just effective but historic? Was it how the US and Israel took complete control of Iranian skies just before the bombers hit Fordo? Guess what? How many of you have seen the movie Iron Eagle? It was a 1980s, 1990 movie. There were two series of movies called Iron Eagle and Iron Eagle 2. This is exactly what the United States and Israel did. They came in and attacked the commercial airspace and the military airspace. They took the communications command and control down. So the military and Iranian people could not talk. They took their communications down. They took their military down. They struck the airfields. The military airfields became unlivable. Israeli F-35I Adir fighters began a series of preemptive raids on Iran's surface air missile systems, radar installations, and communications hubs this past weekend. 5 Iranian attack helicopters were destroyed on the ground this morning. Deep radar towers were taken offline within minutes, and with that, the mission was carried out. The air defense matrix that Iran had spent decades building collapsed. Israel's largest attack ever against Iran has targeted nuclear and military facilities, their gas and oil depots, and people have been killed and hundreds more injured. Most of the attacks so far have occurred in the westernmost part of the country, where the largest number of facilities and cities are located. This is what is known about the damage to Iran's strategic strategic infrastructure so far. Nuclear facilities. Let's talk about the nuclear facilities. This is Fordo. This is Fordo. There were several other facilities also that were attacked. Let's talk about that. Let's show you what is going on. Let me put up a military map of Iran. That way you'll understand where we're coming from. This is a map of the nuclear facilities. This is a map of the nuclear facilities. Where you see these stars here, those red stars, those were the places that the US and Israel attacked last night. The others had previously been attacked. But last night they wanted to eliminate the possibility of Iran attacking with a nuclear missile or any kind of nuclear warhead. They wanted to completely eliminate that possibility. Israel launched most of its recent attacks against Iran last Friday with waves of coordinated airstrikes hitting nuclear sites and killing much of the country's military chain of command, along with several other nuclear scientists, as you know. Iran's nuclear industry is well established, with over 30 facilities spread across the country, some buried deep underground like Fordo. On Wednesday morning this week, the International Atomic Energy Agency, AEIA, has said that Israel struck two centrifuge production facilities. The first strikes on Saturday severely damaged Iran's largest uranium enrichment center at Natanz, Natanz, about 140 miles south of Tehran. The IAEA initially reported that strikes had damaged only the above ground part of the enrichment plant. It later had a revised assessment to confirm direct impacts on underground enrichment halls. Satellite imagery is taken 2 days after the strike. It shows the tracks of heavy machinery and piles of dirt covering craters above where the enrichment halls were believed to be built. ISFAHAN, Isfahan Nuclear Technology Center, Iran's most likely depository of near bomb-grade nuclear fuel, is stored at a complex outside the ancient city of Isfahan. The stockpile so far has been spared from attack, but the Israeli military struck laboratories that work to convert uranium gas into a metal, which is one of the last stages of building a weapon. Now let's talk about the Fordo enrichment facility that was hit last night. As of Wednesday this week, Iran's most heavily fortified nuclear site, Fordo, Fordow, remained undamaged until today. It was built deep inside a mountain to protect it from attack. Only the United States military has a bomb capable of even reaching it, and it did. Striking Fordo is central to any effort in destroying Iran's ability to make nuclear weapons. A few other important nuclear facilities remain undamaged, among them Bushehr, 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 Iran's only operating nuclear plant, and Arak, Arak, a heavily guarded complex that has long been suspected of being built to produce plutonium. Israel has also targeted at least one university associated with the nuclear program. Black smoke could be seen billowing from the Institute of Applied Physics campus. A bomb damage assessment by the U.S. military and Israel this morning said black smoke could be seen billowing from the Institute of Applied Physics campus. There are a few other institutions in the area that are also associated with the Iranian nuclear programs, including Shahid Rajaei University, Malek Ashar University of Technology. Both are under U.S. sanctions. American officials believe they participated in research on nuclear warhead design. Iranian missile capability was also degraded by the strikes. The Israeli military said it had struck 12 missile launch sites and storage facilities on Tuesday alone. That was on Tuesday. Several Israeli strikes targeted a missile base in Kermanshah, Kermanshah. That's where missile storage buildings can be seen with damage. Satellite imagery also shows damage at tunnel entrances to underground missile facilities. In addition to Kermanshah, multiple other missile facilities have been hit. With the largest gas reserves in the world and the fourth largest crude oil reserves, Iran is one of the world's major energy producers. Was. The byword here is was. Let's talk about Iranian energy facilities. What do you believe is going to happen now? There are some people within this world of ours that say that gas prices are going to go through the roof. There's some people saying that gas prices could reach upwards of $20 a barrel. $120 a barrel. That's unreal. Imagine what the gas prices would be then. Why is that? Because President Biden drained out our oil reserves. President Biden drained out our oil reserves and sold the rest to China. President Trump is presently trying to rebuild our oil and gas reserves. Biden and Obama literally destroyed this country. Over the weekend, Israel targeted Iran's critical energy infrastructure. It struck Tehran's main gas depot and its central oil refinery. Until last night, there was this blast I showed you a few minutes ago. According to the statement from Iran's oil ministry, the ministry said Israel had also targeted a section of one of the world's largest oil gas fields. That's over. That's over. I want to again remind you all. I want to remind you, and you all put some of the words from the movie up here in the chat. It's a great movie. Louis Gossett Jr. was in that. I saw the movie and I at one time owned the movies myself. Just like that movie, Iron Eagle. The United States military and Israel came in there and bombed the crap out of Iran last night. They destroyed their radar towers. They destroyed their communications facilities. They conducted their mission to get in and get out without being attacked. Jets flew into the Muslim military air facility, destroyed it. The airfield was destroyed. In fact, I believe I have a picture of that destroyed airfield. Let's go look for this. This is the airfield here. They went in and destroyed the airfield last night. Totally blew it out. President Trump early this morning confirmed that the mission was a success. We now have complete and total control over the skies of Iran. Iran had good sky trackers and other defensive equipment. They had plenty of it. But it did not compare to what the United States made. Nobody does it better than the good old USA. Back here at home, former CENTCOM commander, General Joseph Votel, Votel, he appeared live on Fox News. Iran's defensive grid has been rendered mute. This may be the only opportunity that we have ever had for complete air dominance over Iran has been achieved by Allied forces. That changes everything. This was not just an airstrike. This was a demonstration of the precision power of planning. Now, if you think that Iran is going to just take this line down, well, you might want to think about this again. Now, we've talked about Iran's Muslim supreme leader before, Ayatollah Sayyid Ali Khamenei. Where is he? Where is he? Where did he go during this airstrike? Why is Iran's state media still threatening a surprise that the world will remember for centuries? Yes, that is exactly what came out this morning. They were not able to broadcast, but they wrote this written message. They threatened the world, threatening a surprise that the world will remember for centuries. Is this truly over, or is something far worse brewing beneath the surface? In the early morning hours before midnight, before the midnight strike, something strange happened in Tehran. The mullah, the supreme leader, the Ayatollah Khamenei, disappeared. He completely vanished according to U.S. intelligence and Israeli intercepts. Remember yesterday when President Trump said, "We know where he is"? Apparently some kind of information leaked. And Ayatollah Khamenei was evacuated from the government compound that he was seen in just before the strike began. He is believed to be hiding in a fortified underground facility outside Qom, Qum, Iran, shielded by layers of hardened steel and propaganda. Iranian media hasn't shown any footage, no live broadcasts, no news press conferences, no photo ops or anything because their building was destroyed. Their broadcast building was destroyed. Remember the day before yesterday when Israel made their bombing run into Iran? They showed bomb damage assessments, and they showed the Iranian TV facility leveled. Today, just a carefully worded message from the state-run TV. There will be a surprise that the world will remember for centuries. What does that mean? A nuclear response? A cyber attack? A wave of proxy strikes across the West? Another 9/11 style attack? No one knows for sure. What we do know is that Biden let in all kinds of people through 140 countries throughout the world. He let them walk in through our southern border. Some of them even came in through the northern border. There are sleeper cells here in the United States, so we don't know what else is going to happen. No one knows for sure. Everybody is watching and nobody believes that this is over. President Trump has not moved our military assets from where they are right now. I honestly don't think he is going to do that because I believe there's something else up Israel's and President Trump's sleeves. Now let's talk about global powers as well. Immediately after the latest military force against Iran, Iran announced that the Iranian Prime Minister is headed for Switzerland for a meeting to negotiate where they're going to go from here. A negotiation. They seem to think they're going to negotiate over in Switzerland. Remember what President Trump said last night? Telling them that there's no more time for negotiation. That time is over. There will be no ceasefire. There must be an absolute and final surrender. There must be an absolute and final surrender. Now, Russia is also expected to insert their foot into this as well. They've already tried to insert themselves as a peacemaker. Go figure. Putin's state media released a message this morning claiming that the Russian Federation is prepared to mediate between Iran and Israel. They want to mediate between Iran and Israel in the interest of regional stability. Interesting, but no cigar. I'm going to pause for just a second. Heidi Petrick just gave out 5 EMA Associates gift memberships. Kyung Conning, George R., Power to the People, Cat's Pajamas, and Starbright each received a 1-month membership to our EMA people here on our channel. We appreciate that. We really appreciate that, Heidi. Thank you very much. Thank you all for what you do. We're trying to build this channel, guys. We'd appreciate you guys helping us. If you haven't already and you are here for the first time, please subscribe to this channel. As you can see already from what we talked about tonight, we talk about emergencies, we talk about disasters, we talk about emergency preparedness, we talk about these explosions, these military actions that put our country and other countries in a line for someone to do something. We talk about earthquakes, we talk about tornadoes, we talk about hurricanes, we talk about oil refinery explosions, train derailments and explosions, all kinds of emergencies and disasters that can happen anywhere, including rain and flooding and major thunderstorms. Please, folks, if you have it in your heart, please help us with bringing in more support here on our channel. Subscribe to our channel. When you do that, please also click on that little bell icon. Right next to the subscription button, there's a little bell icon. Click on that. When you click on that, you'll see a drop-down menu of 3 items come up. Click on the word ALL, all. That should get you notified when we come on the air. But guess what? YouTube does not notify everybody. They don't notify everybody all the time. YouTube doesn't like our channel because we tell the truth. I've been on the air over 6 years now. This is my second channel. My first channel was taken down after it had 26,000 subscribers because YouTube didn't like me talking about COVID. They didn't like me talking about the jab. They took me down several times before they finally took me down completely. And 2 days later, I had this channel here. And now we've gotten almost 8,000 subscribers. Please, folks, help us bring up our subscriber base. And we're not doing it for me, we're doing it for all of you. How are we doing it for you? Because we want to bring you the latest news and information when it comes to emergencies and disasters. That's why we're here. That's why we first came on this channel years and years ago. I'm committed to that. I'm definitely committed to that. I would like you here with us. I would like to give out that information because I believe that everybody deserves that information in order to become prepared. Heidi Petrick just gave us another $20 super chat. Heidi, I just gave you an EMA sticker on your super chat and I also gave you a thumbs up. God bless you, Heidi. Thank you for helping support this channel. I want to thank everybody that supports this channel. Those of you that are new here, you can also support this channel by giving us super chats like Heidi did. You can also give us super thanks as well. Also, below on the bottom of your screen here, you see where we have our PayPal and our Venmo locations also scrolling across the screen. That's because you can help support this channel by going to our PayPal and Venmo locations and giving us donations. Right below that, you see our address and our email address as well. If you have criticisms, comments, or any suggestions you'd like to see on the program, you can send us an email to rltnspdema@gmail.com. You can also send us cards and letters. Carol loves cards and letters. I love cards and letters as well. Inside that card or letter, you can also stick a donation, a check or even cash. People have done it in the past. Please do that. The more you send us donations, the more we have to keep this channel on the air. It costs a lot of money to keep this channel on the air. It was unbelievable. When I first got on the air over 6 years ago, back in 2019, April 3rd, 2019, I didn't believe it cost money to do it, but it does. It takes bandwidth. It costs money to buy bandwidth, which I do on a monthly basis. It also costs money to keep these computers and the software up to date. So we appreciate anything you can do to keep us on the air. Definitely. Also, please give us a thumbs up as well. Giving us a thumbs up lets YouTube know that you're interested in what we're doing on this channel, and also that you like what we're doing. And through that and the number of people that watch this program, yes, YouTube keeps an eye on that as well. The number of people that watch this program, the number of thumbs up that you give us, and also the comments that you leave us after this program is over. Yes, right below this video today, after this video is over, you'll have a comment section. The more you comment, the more YouTube says, okay, everybody likes this channel. We're going to let some other people see this video. They use those things to assess whether they're going to allow anybody else on YouTube to see this program. So everyone, please help us with that. We greatly appreciate it. Greatly appreciate that. Okay? Demon Catman has put our address here, 504 Bethel Road, Box 401, Morganton, North Carolina. Zip code is 28655. Thank you, Demon Catman, for that. Demon Catman just put our email address also in the chat. He also put our PayPal and our Venmo locations also, so you can go there and give us donations there, which we would greatly appreciate. Anyway, let's finish talking about what happened last night over in Iran and what's going on now. Russia, like I said, has already inserted its foot into its own mouth. Trump does not want to negotiate any longer. The time for negotiation about Iran is over. Now all he wants, Iran and Israel wants, is for Iran to surrender. Never attack anyone again. Never attack anyone again. Not nuclear or anything else. Iran has constantly threatened to attack the world and the United States with nuclear missiles. He's threatened to take out Israel as well. The mullah, the Ayatollah Khamenei, has threatened to kill every Jew in the world. But again, President Trump does no longer want to negotiate. He wants complete surrender so there will be peace. Putin offered to negotiate. Trump said, don't you have another war to be losing? Yeah. Putin offered to negotiate with Trump. Trump said, don't you have another war to be losing? A cold and direct President Trump. Meanwhile, China also issued a bland non-committal warning urging de-escalation and dialogue. But when we go behind the scenes, tensions are rising. Tensions are rising with China. China has surrounded Taiwan. China has threatened to take over Taiwan by 2027 at the very latest. As of this past weekend, China had gotten some of its largest aircraft carriers and its strike forces threatening to take Taiwan this past weekend. I understand that Taiwan is still surrounded. Let's also not forget something else. 2 weeks ago, Israeli intelligence caught Russian-made weapons in the hands of Hamas and Hezbollah. Israeli intelligence caught Russian-made weapons in the hands of Hamas and Hezbollah. Incredible. How'd that happen? Because Russia gave weapons to Iran, and Iran passed them on to Hezbollah and Hamas, and also to Yemen with the Houthis. That fractured the already frail Israeli-Russian relationship. Russia going behind everyone's back, supplying its enemies with weapons. The bottom line here is this. The power players are repositioning, so no one wants to challenge the United States right now. No one wants to challenge the United States now. Not now when B-2 bombers just melted the Iranian nuclear facility at Fordo off the map. They melted it off the map. Fordo does no longer exist as it did before. There's a very deep, large hole in the ground where it once was. And back at home in the United States, there are political battle lines that are drawn. And they're always drawing more. What is Congress saying about Trump's strike on Iran? Why are they warning this heroic while others are warning that this is a step toward World War III? The contrary Democrat communist politicians in D.C. are questioning President Trump and questioning President Trump's War Powers Act. And if he lawfully, without congressional approval, carried out the attack against Israel. No, President Trump did not go to Congress and say, I'm going to attack Iran, or I want to attack Iran. He didn't do it. He doesn't have to. And is Trump's ultimate goal at peace, or is it total regime collapse in Iran? Within minutes of the news breaking of the attack on Iran by Israel and the United States, Capitol Hill exploded. Several Republican leaders praised President Trump for doing what previous presidents had failed and refused to do. And others said that this was long overdue. But even others said that Iran has attacked Americans for decades with zero consequences. That era is over. That statement came from Congressman Dan Crenshaw from Texas. Senator Josh Hawley from Missouri said, quote, Trump's decision tonight wasn't about war. It was about ending a threat that has been going on for decades. However, as we can all guess, not everyone is celebrating in Washington, D.C. Senator Bernie Sanders of Delaware and Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Remember her? The loudmouth young woman from New York City? She called the strike reckless and unconstitutional. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was demanding immediate congressional hearings, and even war power limitations. And then, of course, there's Thomas Massie, a libertarian Republican who warned, quote, we cannot stumble into another endless conflict. The American people deserve to vote before more blood is spilled. So my question to all of you that are listening to this program, where do you stand on this? Where does the public stand on this? Where does the public stand on this? Right now, the social media is saying that President Trump is right. We've been having to put up with 50 American embassy workers being taken hostage in 1979. And the President Jimmy Carter at the time did not want to chance going after Iran and returning them quickly. In 1981, President Trump was scared that Reagan would attack Iran. So they released the hostages. Iran continued to play political games and also enriched uranium to be able to build an atomic bomb. During Obama's administration, he sent a pallet of money, millions of dollars to Iran in the middle of the night so that maybe, just maybe, the American people wouldn't know about it and they wouldn't find out about it. But we did. Yes, the Democrats played it off, but the American people did not, and we were angry with it. Angry with Obama doing it. This allowed Iran to continue to manufacture the bomb. Iran has thought that they just wanted to do it. They thought they could continue to do it, and they could continue to do whatever they wanted to do. Iran has continued to supply arms to other countries to be able to wage war against the West and the United States, giving weapons and money to Yemen for the Houthis, Palestine to Hamas, and also to Lebanon for Hezbollah. All of these terrorist organizations have killed innocent civilians, and they've taken international hostages as well as United States citizens. We in the United States and Israel and around the rest of this world, we have finally stood up and said no more. We stood with Israel and said no more. We're standing up against Putin in Russia and Xi in China. No more. We also have our aircraft carriers and a task force down around Taiwan and in the Philippines and Japan to try to protect those countries as well. Because China has threatened to take those as well. They want to take Taiwan. They've been playing around with the naval forces of the Philippines and also threatening Japan. The line in the sand has been drawn. I personally do not think this war game is over. We've won so far in Iran, but let's see what happens now. Does anybody have any questions about anything we said tonight? I'll be happy to entertain anybody's comments or questions about what's going on. SagePub said he was told that Obama dropped off a pallet of cash totaling $15 billion to Iran, which they've been buying weapons from China. Yes, they have. They've also been buying weapons from Russia. Up until this past weekend, Russia has been an ally of Iran. As of Saturday, Russia said they no longer are Iran's ally. They pulled back. And I think that's why, I honestly believe that that's why, that the United States got together with Israel and took out Iran. And I don't think the bombing raids are over. I think we're going to go in there again and again and possibly even a third time to finally put the end to Iran's manufacture of atomic weapons or anything else. We've nailed them. And I hope it continues. Surgery said that China has also threatened Australia. Yes, they have. They threaten Australia as well. They want to continue to take over the area. That's one reason why Myanmar is fighting right now. Because the Chinese military wants to take over Myanmar. They want to take over the world. That's the final end goal with China. They want to take over the world. And Russia wants a piece of it as well. Suri says, keep an eye on Palestine, yes. Or Pakistan, I'm sorry, Pakistan. We will. We will. We have any other comments about what's going on? Now, let's go take a look at earthquakes around the world really quick. I promised you guys we would keep up on what's going on, and I'm going to do that. I'm not going to leave you guys in the dark when it comes to what's going on around the world. I'm going to take our webcam down, and I'm also going to take our EMA banner down as well. Let's look at earthquakes around the world now. As you can see here in the Pacific, we'll start with the Pacific and then we'll go elsewhere. Okay? Let's go over here into the Mariana Trench here. This is a 5.1 earthquake. This is a large 5.1 earthquake, 275 kilometers northeast of Saipan, Northern Mariana Islands. This is also 8 kilometers deep. 8 kilometers deep. Further down here, Papua New Guinea. This is a very large 5.5 earthquake over here in Papua New Guinea. 37 kilometers north of Finschenhaven. We've had earthquakes here near Finschenhaven before. Notice where we're at now, just offshore. Just offshore here. Now, in most cases, when an earthquake is offshore from one of the islands or offshore from anywhere, it depends on how strong that earthquake is, when it hits, and where it hits. This happens to be 37 kilometers north of Finschenhaven, Papua New Guinea. Folks, this is offshore, yes. But Papua New Guinea may have felt some part of this earthquake. It's only 37 kilometers north. They didn't feel the whole brunt of the 5.5, but they may have felt moderate shaking. They may have felt moderate shaking here at Finschenhaven. Let's zoom in here and show you Finschenhaven here. There are also other communities here as well. This is Finschenhaven. It's basically a large town. They felt part of this earthquake. They felt part of that earthquake. Let's back out here some more. I want to show you these other earthquakes here. Okay, down here over here in Indonesia. Amahai, Indonesia. This was a 4.5 earthquake. There's 24 earthquakes here in Indonesia. USGS not showing much of anything at all. Nothing. Sad. Sad. Let's go over here to Taiwan. Off the southern coast of Taiwan here, we had another 5.0 earthquake. On the northeast side of Taiwan here, we had another 4.3. This is 75 kilometers east of Hualien City, Taiwan. Neither one of these earthquakes were near shore. The oceans of the Chinese Sea here, the South China Sea, absorbed the shockwaves of this quake. Let's go north. Right here. Southeast of Shimoda, Japan. This is a 4.7 earthquake. This is 123 kilometers southeast of Japan. The ocean waters absorbed the shockwaves of this quake. Let's go over here to northern Japan. Off the coast of northern Japan, we have a 4.3 earthquake here. Again, this is 76 kilometers east-northeast of Hachinohe, Japan. This is offshore. Nobody felt this earthquake. The ocean waters absorbed the shockwaves of this quake. That's not going to be always the case here today. That's not going to be always the case here today. Let's go over here to Tonga. This is a 4.3 moderate earthquake here in Tonga. Again, this is offshore of Humatonga. Nobody felt this earthquake because, again, the ocean waters of the Pacific Ocean absorbed the shockwaves from this quake. Now, let's go over here to South America. We're here. I want to show you this. This is at the border region of Chile and Argentina on the east side of the Andes Mountains here. This is a 4.6 earthquake. Over here on the east side of the Andes Mountains, some of these people may have felt this quake. Some of the people may have felt this quake in these towns and cities here. 83 kilometers northeast of San Martin, Argentina. 4.6 moderate quake. Let's go north. There are more earthquakes than this, but USGS has not shown them. There are 2s and 3s and even 4.0s, 4.3s here in central Chile. There are about 24 earthquakes here in Chile today. I shouldn't say just Chile, also up in Colombia and Peru as well. USGS is not showing all of them at all. We go up here again to Ecuador. This is the 4.4 earthquake here, 34 kilometers west of Archidona, Ecuador. Now guys, let's zoom in here. I want to show you where this is. Look where it's at. It's just south of a major volcano. South of a major volcano, Sangay volcano. And north of Sangay, we have another volcano, guys. Now, why am I talking about this earthquake in Ecuador? This is over on the east side of the Andes Mountains in Ecuador. But folks, guess what this is? You can already see craters here. This earthquake, even though it's on the east side of the Andes Mountains, it may be related to magma chambers. Magma chambers located within this mountainous community. See the volcanoes here, guys. See the volcanoes. This volcano is Cotopaxi here. Cotopaxi. I think this is the one I was talking about, Sangay volcano right here. And this one up here is the Reventador volcano here. They're erupting. They're erupting. This area here has earthquakes here all the time as a result of these volcanoes erupting. Okay? They're not showing any earthquakes in Colombia. Why not? There are earthquakes here. USGS doesn't want to talk about it. Over here in the Caribbean Ocean, this is a 4.8 earthquake off the coast of Nicaragua here. 4.8 earthquake, 10 kilometers deep, 6.2 kilometers deep. Over here off the coast of Nicaragua and El Salvador, we have a 4.7 earthquake here. This is on the Cocos Plate. The one on the east side is also on the Cocos Plate. 4.7 earthquake here, 10 kilometers deep. They're not showing much at all, are they? They never do. Heaven forbid they show us what's going on. Heaven forbid they let us know what's happening. Let's go down here to the southern tip of South America. Drake's Passage again. Drake's Passage. A few weeks ago, we had a 7.4 major earthquake here. Drake's Passage. This is a 4.7 moderate aftershock. The 4.7 moderate aftershock of that 7.4 earthquake here. Let's go north over here into the mid-Atlantic Ocean. Right here. You see numerous earthquakes here. Right here. This is a 5.0 large earthquake. Up here to the north. They downgrade this, guys. They downgrade. This is a 4.6 earthquake. That was a 5.0. This was a 5.0 when I first came on the air. This earthquake is a 5.0. This earthquake is a 5.3. This earthquake is a 5.0. This earthquake is a 5.0. And this earthquake here is a 4.8, moderate earthquake, 10 kilometers deep in the South Mid-Atlantic. The South Mid-Atlantic here. Now, guys, where did they come from? Where do these earthquakes come from? Earlier this weekend, we had some 5.0 earthquakes down here in the South Sandwich Islands. Though that seismic energy migrated over here to the South Pacific, or South Atlantic, I'm sorry. Migrated over here to the South Atlantic. It's migrated up the South Mid-Atlantic fault here, all the way up here. The same energy that we see here, multiple fives here, multiple 5.0s. That energy is going to continue to migrate up the Mid-Atlantic fault. It's going to continue to migrate up the Mid-Atlantic fault. Now, we may or may not see the migration. USGS may not tell us what's going on. Sometimes they don't tell us about 5.0 earthquakes. I showed you an earthquake yesterday where USGS didn't show it and the European agency did. USGS doesn't always report everything. They never do. Now, there are all kinds of earthquakes here. All kinds of earthquakes here in Spain. Southern Spain, there are 4 earthquakes there. Northern Spain, we have a couple earthquakes there. Over here in the Azores Islands off of Portugal and Spain, we have a couple of earthquakes here. We have several earthquakes down here in the Canary Islands. One of them over here at La Palma Island. At La Palma Island over here. El Paso, La Palma Island here. It's just a 1.2 tremor, but it's still 1.2 tremor. Heaven forbid USGS talks about it. Sometimes they talk about it over in Indonesia, but you can see right now, I just got through showing you Indonesia and doesn't talk about much of anything. Go figure. Go figure. Anyway, I want to go over here, okay? Up towards the border region of Spain and France, there are 2 earthquakes here, a 2.1 and a 2.4 here. Going up here into France, there are a couple other minor earthquakes up here as well. In the Andes Mountains, we have mostly tremors. Mostly tremors in the Andes, Germany, and the Andes, Switzerland area. We have some tremors also in northern Italy, around the foothills of the Andes Mountains. We have a bunch of earthquakes still over here in the north central part of Italy. Earthquakes continue to hit down here near Vesuvius volcano because Vesuvius is trying to erupt. Vesuvius volcano is trying to erupt, and as a result, they're having earthquakes here every day. Every day. We're going to keep you apprised of what's going on here at Vesuvius volcano as well. Okay? Earthquakes down here in central or south central Italy here. Down here in the foot of the boot. Down here in the foot of the boot right here. Down here in northern Sicily, we have a couple minor earthquakes here in northern Sicily there. Let's go over here to Greece. 26 earthquakes here in Greece. We have several earthquakes here in the Aegean Sea here. Several earthquakes here in the Aegean Sea right in this area right here. These islands are called the Dokanese Islands. They belong to Greece. There are earthquakes here because magma is flowing underneath in the crust here, underneath the Aegean Sea, trying to find a way to erupt. Magma flowing through the crust, trying to find a way to erupt. I believe that's going to continue for some time to come. That's my belief. Let's go over here. Over here in Iran, we've had several earthquakes. One of the earthquakes came last night. From that mountain exploding. that mountain exploding. I think it was right down in this area right here. I think that was a 5.2 earthquake. A 5.2 earthquake this morning. Let me see if the EMSC still has it. EMSC still might have it. Let me check. I had it on my weather application on my phone. And again, the weather has subsided here or I wouldn't be on the air. The weather has subsided here, I would not be on the air. No, the EMSC doesn't have the earthquake here either. They took it down. That's typically what the USGS and the EMSC do. They take down the earthquakes no matter where they are or what's going on. Sad. Okay? You don't see any earthquakes here in Iran at all. Nothing. They've taken them down. Actually, I'm sorry. There is one. There are actually two, one in northern Iran and one in southern Iran. This is a 4.3 down here. That's a 4.3. This may have been one of the bunker busters that we dropped on Iran early this morning. On the north side here in northeastern Iran, this was at 3:33 p.m. this afternoon. Northern Iran, I don't think this has anything to do with the Israeli U.S. incursion into Iran. That happened early this afternoon. Okay, going over here into Afghanistan and Tajikistan. We do have a 3.7 earthquake here in Tajikistan. 3.7 earthquake in Tajikistan. Let me bring this map over here so you can see it. I'm sorry, I blew that. My bad here. Right up in here. 3.7 in Tajikistan here. We've also got two others here. Another in Tajikistan being another 3.7 here. And the other earthquake here is Pakistan. This is a 3.9 earthquake here in Pakistan. But again, the USGS is not showing this. Not showing any of those at all. Blows my mind that the USGS would not show anything like that. Nothing in Tajikistan or Pakistan here. Go figure. Go figure. Earthquake still hitting in Myanmar here. They're not showing any of these here as well. But the EMSC is. Let me show you guys this, okay? Just for kicks and giggles. We're here in Myanmar. Myanmar here. This is a 3.7 earthquake. Further south here, also along this same fault zone coming out of Indonesia. We get earthquakes in Myanmar because they come out of Indonesia. This is in Myanmar, guys. It's a 2.7 earthquake here. Right alongside the fault zone. 2.7 earthquake there, and south there, this is a 2.6. Going further east into Myanmar here, or west, east into Myanmar, 1.4 tremor here. 1.4 tremor, 2.4 earthquake, 2.4 earthquake, a 2.0 there, and just north of there also is another 2.4 there. And one other one further up here to the northeast is a 2.5. So we have a bunch of 2.0s, 2.5s, 2.4s throughout Myanmar today. These are all aftershocks of a 7.4, 8 point. They called it a 7.4 earthquake. It was an 8.0 earthquake here in Myanmar just a couple months ago. Huge earthquake, huge earthquake. Look at all the earthquakes in Indonesia. Earthquakes going up into the Philippines here, off the east coast of Mindanao, Philippines. They're not showing anything like that, are they? Not a thing. They don't want us to know anything. They don't want us to know anything. Over in the Philippines, we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11 earthquakes in the Philippines. They're not showing one earthquake in the Philippines at all. Nothing. Nothing. In Indonesia, we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 16, 18, 22. We had 24 earthquakes. We have 22 earthquakes over here in Indonesia right now. 22 earthquakes here in Indonesia right now. Insane. Insane. Folks, right now here in Central or South America, we have 2, 4, 6, I'm going to say 30 plus earthquakes here. 30 plus earthquakes here in Chile, Peru, and Colombia. Chile, Peru, and Colombia. 36 earthquakes. 36 earthquakes. Look over here in Central America. Central America. They're not showing anything. They're not showing anything there. Let's go over here. They're showing 2 earthquakes here, one on either side of Nicaragua. This is a 5.0 and this is a 5.0. In this same area off of Nicaragua yesterday, we had a 5.6. But they're still not being truthful. Look at southern Mexico. 30 plus earthquakes in southern Mexico here. 30 plus earthquakes, 32, 34, 36, 38 earthquakes. 38 earthquakes here in southern Mexico. They're not showing any. They're not showing any earthquakes at all in southern Mexico at all. Between Puerto Vallarta down here, going all the way down here to the south, Manzanillo. Manzanillo is a huge resort here. Up and down this whole area here, they're not showing any earthquakes at all. Zihuatanejo. Zihuatanejo was another resort right here. We have Acapulco as another resort. Earthquakes all throughout this area, guys. 3.5, 3.7, 3.9, 4.0, 4.4, and 4.5 earthquakes all throughout southern Mexico. All throughout southern Mexico. Now, I want to go up here to Alaska real quick, and then I want to go over to Washington State, just for kicks and giggles. Northern Alaska. Northern Alaska. We have a 2.4 earthquake here. 2.4 minor earthquake. Let me back this up a little bit. These 2 earthquakes here are on the Arctic Circle. They're on the Arctic Circle. That's a 2.4. And this earthquake here is a 1.1 tremor. 1.1 tremor. South of the Arctic Circle here in central Alaska, another 1.1. 1.1. Further south, Tanana, Alaska, we have a volcano here. We have 1.5s there. Look at all these earthquakes. Tanana is right next to a volcano. Let's go down here into Denali, Alaska. This is a 2.1 earthquake here in northern Denali, Alaska, Denali National Park. This is a 1.0 here. And this over on the northeast side of Denali is a 1.3. Sometimes we have larger earthquakes than that. That's why I want to show you that. Okay. Down here, they're showing those earthquakes up here. Katavik, Alaska here, right there. Katavik, Alaska, 2.4. They show these earthquakes here on the USGS map. Crazy, crazy. Down here at Anchorage. This is the capital of Alaska right here. Over here we have a volcano going. It's rumbling. 75 miles west of Anchorage. This is a 1.1 tremor. This is a 0.8 microquake. And this is a 1.1 tremor here, Secedon, Alaska. The volcano's over here. They're not showing anything here at all. Go figure. Go figure. Now, I am going to go down to Old Ililama volcano over here in the Alaska Peninsula. I want you to see what's going on here. Old Ililama volcano right here. We show one earthquake here. It's a 0.0 surface quake, supposedly. 0.0s are supposed to be surface quakes, but this is over a mile deep. It's not a surface quake at all. Not a surface quake at all. The EMSC, the European agency, has this as a 0.02 microquake. USGS has it as a surface quake. I would rather take this as a microquake than a surface quake because it's not a surface quake at all. Again, we have the USGS lying about it. Old Ililama volcano is putting up ash. Old Ililama volcano here is putting up ash. It's erupting, but just putting out ash. That's all. Southwest from there, Salmon, Alaska. This is a 0.9 microquake here. Not much else going on here. Usually at Old Ililama volcano, we have a lot of activity, but we don't today. Let's go over to Washington State. Okay? I want to show you this because it's important. There's quite a few earthquakes here. Let's take a look at this. Okay? Right here. Mount Vernon, Washington. 1.2 tremor here. Index, Washington, a 1.3. Going over here, Chico, Washington, a 0.7 microquake. Let's go down here to Mount Rainier. Yesterday I showed you a bunch of earthquakes here at Mount Rainier. I actually showed you seismograms. There were all kinds of microquakes here, all kinds of minor earthquakes, and there was even a 3.3 earthquake here at Mount Rainier. USGS is again only showing a microquake here, a 0.4 microquake here. This is just barely below the surface of the summit, just barely down beneath the summit. That means that magma is right there underneath that great big huge volcanic plug. Magma is right beneath that plug today, and this is at the summit of Mount Rainier. at the summit of Mount Rainier. And of course, they're not going to show all the earthquakes. They never do. They never show us exactly what's going on. Down over here, just north of Mount St. Helens, we have a 2.1 earthquake here, a 2.14 earthquake, 5 miles from the volcano. We know for a fact that there are other earthquakes here at St. Helens. We know for a fact. But again, USGS is not going to show them to us, are they? Never going to happen. Never going to happen. Now, does anybody have any questions for me? We have one earthquake over here on the northern part of the San Andreas Fault here, just off the coast of Petrolia, California, on the northern part of the San Andreas. Anybody have any questions? Richard Smith has reported a 1.1 tremor over in northern Italy. Not surprised at all. Sage Pub says, one day soon we will be able to predict earthquakes. I'm going to say we'll be able to forecast earthquakes. I don't think we can ever predict them, but I believe we can forecast them. We'll be able to know where they're going to hit and approximately what magnitude they're going to hit. I believe we're going to be able to forecast earthquakes. Charlene is saying ice sheets melt, leaving perhaps land plates more buoyant. No. Down in the southern hemisphere, the ice sheets are not melting. They're freezing up again. The southern Antarctic is freezing again. It's wintertime down there. Up here in the North Pacific, the Baltic Sea, or the Atlantic Ocean, guess what? Yeah, there are some melts going on. There is some melts going on up here, up to the north, but nothing sufficient to have anybody worry about. Anybody that's worrying about the weather and melting ice, forget it. It's cyclical. It has nothing to do with our cars. It has nothing to do with, well, it could have some small thing to do with volcanoes, but when it comes to pollution, air pollution, coming from human beings, not a chance. Not a chance. The plants around the world, the trees and other shrubs around the world, our vegetable gardens absorb carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide. They thrive on it. But these cotton-picking Democrat communist elites around the world want us to believe there's climate change. Climate change due to cars. Bullcrap. It's all bullcrap. It's all bullcrap. I hate saying that. I hate saying that. No, we're not going to expect any land rise. It's not going to happen. Any land rise that we're going to have is from volcanic action. Any rise that we have is going to be due to one plate subducting under another plate and or a volcanic eruption. A volcano causes land to rise. Okay? That's what's going on. Charlene's saying Charlene's telling me that I'm saying there's no geothermal heating at the South Pole from volcanic vents. There is some. There is some, but it is not significant to say there's an ice sheet melting. It's not. It's just not. Okay? The coldness of the air and the surrounding atmosphere is going, if there was any melting from volcanoes down in that area, geothermal melting, it freezes right quickly. It freezes right quickly. There's no significant melting happening in the southern hemisphere. Now, I've done a lot of research on that. There is an active volcano down there, but again, it's not looking like there's going to be any kind of environmental damage from that volcano erupting. Surgery saying he's been hearing the ocean currents are changing. If there's ocean currents changing, guess what? Guess what? The jet stream is also changing. The Earth is constantly moving, isn't it? If the ocean water currents are changing, it's because of what is going on around our oceans. Shirley, yes, it is interesting. Everything that we're talking about is interesting. It's crazy. It's science is confounding almost. One day it's blowing my mind. I don't understand it. The next day I have a scientist that has explained it. It's great. That's why I love what we do here. Surgery says, I think we also have weather wars. Yes, they are. Weather wars are very interesting, though, because the scientists want to believe that it's the weather that's changing. No, it's not. The scientists are focused on weather changing. They're focused on their electronics to change the weather. They up the amount of radiation that's dispelled from these radars that they have, and they attract the electronic currents in the clouds. They attract the electronic currents of the clouds around the radars. Then they can control the weather flow by setting up radars so the cloud base, the electrons in the clouds, the water electrons in the clouds are following the radar images that we're putting up from the ground. Crazy. Crazy. As Sage Pub said here in the chat, climate change has been going on since there's humans here, but it's not humans that are doing anything about that are changing anything. Scientists are changing it, the elites are changing things. But it's not you and I that's doing it. It's not you and I at all. They want to play these games, we can play it. I'm not going to play it. I'm just not going to do it. I've been studying this too long to be able to fall for their crap. I'm just not going to do it anymore. They want to say we're doing it. They want to put us up with electric cars that cost $100,000 a piece to own. They want to take gasoline-powered vehicles off from our roadways. Not going to happen. Just not going to happen, guys. I'm blown away. More than anything, I'm blown away about what's going on. Yes, our sun is having a hissy fit. Our sun is throwing a hissy fit, throwing up solar flares and throwing out plasma radiation. Plasma radiation can change the weather. Plasma radiation can change everything. Plasma radiation can reach the Earth and cause hissy fits with earthquakes. Yeah. Cobalt here in the chat said the sun throwing a hissy fit lately probably doesn't help with these earthquakes. No, it doesn't. As I have explained this before, I'll explain it again. When that plasma radiation comes out from the sun, and I also have a link to that on our program description right below this video today. When the plasma radiation reaches out from the sun and it engulfs a planet like this, it doesn't just hit on the Earth side facing, it engulfs a planet like this. The entire planet has problems. The plasma radiation causes radio communication problems. The plasma radiation causes communication problems between the ground on the Earth and the satellites in space. It causes radio communication problems here on the Earth. Police, fire department, ham radio frequencies are disturbed by the plasma radiation causing problems. It actually can knock out radio signals. It can actually knock radio signals out, and it can also knock satellites out of orbit. We've seen that happen as of the last few years, and more of that. Yes, the sun has the solar flares, the solar plasma radiation also has an effect on volcanoes, earthquakes, and the weather. Yeah. We can't, as Sagepope said here in the chat, we can't even compete with that. We can't even compete with that. Guys, I want to leave you with a positive thought here tonight. I wasn't able to do that because we were caught off guard with the weather last night. It looks like we're having a weather system move in now. A huge thunderhead just blew in right in front of our window here. So we're going to have another storm here. I want to go over to James in the New Testament. In James' New Testament has a lot of information for us. In James, the first chapter, in verse 17, it says, every good gift and every perfect gift is from above. Every good gift and every perfect gift that comes from God and comes down from the Father of lights, with whom is no variableness near the shadow of turning. In the first epistle of James, first chapter, 5th and 6th verses. And I challenge all of you to read this and also read your scriptures. I'm going to challenge you right now to read your scriptures. In James, the first chapter, verses 5 and 6, challenge us. Ask God yourself. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering. For he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea driven with the wind and tossed. Ask God yourself if what we're saying is true. Ask God yourself if what the scriptures is teaching us is true. And I'm telling you this, God will reveal it to you. Each one of us can receive personal revelation from God. Each one of us can receive personal revelation from God. I promise you that. God will tell us what is true and what isn't. Okay? Ask in faith, nothing wavering. If you have real faith, have real intent, with faith in God, he will reveal the truth of it unto you through the gift and power of the Holy Ghost. And through the gift and power of the Holy Ghost, you will receive the truth of all things. That's a fact. I want to thank all of our mods here. Ashley Laurel's here in our chat, saying your mods here are always very welcoming. I appreciate that. Guys, our mods here for the most part have been here a very long time. I personally love and appreciate our mods so much. They make this channel live, to keep the trolls from hitting us here. Our mods are awesome. Our mod squad here are the best in the business. We appreciate that. Again, if you're new here, please subscribe to this channel. Also, when you subscribe, hit that little notification bell. And when you do that, a drop-down menu of 3 items will come up. And one of the 3 items is the word ALL. Click on the word ALL. That will get you notified when we come on the channel. We appreciate it. Usually you come on the air sometime between 4 and 5 now. And today it was a lot later than that because of the weather. Huge, terrible thunderstorm and heavy rain hit this area when I was supposed to be coming on the air. I turned everything off. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you being here. Thank you all for being here, guys. I love and appreciate each one of you. If anything else happens tonight, we'll be back here on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. Same thing in the morning. Otherwise, you'll see us here approximately 4:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I ask God to bless you. Tomorrow is Friday. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about emergency preparedness unless something else happens. In that case, we'll talk about some things, then we'll talk about emergency preparedness as well. God bless you. God be with you this day and always. God be with you until we can meet again. We'll see you on the other side. Thank you all for being here. God bless. Bye-bye.